Yeah, guys, this is the portal to hell or something. Tula Oblast, Russian Federation, -1 more wildberries. Excelenova Plus, thank you for providing images and videos from the Russian channels. And this was one of the biggest wildberries warehouses out there in Russia. It was visited by Ukrainian drones, but it was not the only infrastructural objects for Ukrainian drone operation the last night. So in this video I'm going to tell about those kabooms and also about the Russian strikes on Ukraine, because the last night was also kind of hot for the capital city of Kyiv especially. But of course, first let's speak about the strikes happening in Russia. So this is one warehouse. It was just kissed in two of the spots, and there were two of the fire regions, and later on it became one big. Yeah, the guy says that he feels the smell of the plastics burning. As usual, wildberries personnel was evacuated, but during the night time there were not many. It was not the night really, but early morning. We have the bingo board, but there are so many storages of wildberries that the entire bingo board would contain around 100 of those warehouses. But the biggest ones are not more than 20, and before the record was Elektrostal in Moscow region, very close to Moscow, and this is probably the biggest. There were no fire brigades, no air defense systems. The only thing here that the mouse is different is the 5th of August, not the 5th of July. Come on. Or maybe just the satellite image dated from 1 month ago to show you how it was, and on the left you see a volcano, how it really is. And yeah, indeed, it looks like a volcano, several kilometers straight to the sky and spreading all around, follows the wind. Well, Ukraine used mostly FP-1 and Luty drones to hit this infrastructure. Totally, Ukraine launched more than 400 drones to occupy territory, Crimea also, there were kabooms reported by the way, and Russian territory. And on this channel we are monitoring the situation every day, so it's the third or maybe fourth day consecutive then we see wildberries on fire. Every day at least one storage goes kaboom. Yeah, the images from wildberries, they are crazy. Oh my god, yeah, this is no-go absolutely. And I'm sure that the company itself will be no more. Ukraine works now against wildberries mostly, but ozone is next. It's already understandable. There was an attempt actually of one of the drones to hit ozone. It crashed very close, but Magyar on his social media already hinted that ozone is next. And ozone is the second biggest after wildberries, this big marketplace where Russians sell their goods. It is basically like AliExpress, Temu, Amazon, so you understand. In Ukraine we also have Rosetka, but it is very small. It is uncomparable even to one of the warehouses that was hit today in Russia. I mean, the entire network of Rosetka in Ukraine. The general consumer market is not that big in Ukraine, and there are also competitors abroad, because Ukraine is very close to EU and goods are coming from the European countries very fast to Ukraine. But in Russia they built an independent marketplace, and that is what made them vulnerable. My friends, just a short reminder, but it is important. Please like this video while you're watching it and also subscribe to the channel. We are on the way to reach 1 million subscribers. Thank you guys, you're amazing. And if you can, you may support my job on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description below, or join membership of YouTube channel by pressing button join. Guys, thank you so much for making this content possible. Let's continue with the video. And here we have the wildberry strike statistics just for the last months. Many of the warehouses are down, and today it was 16th of the wildberries warehouse that was visited by Ukrainian drones, and just few of the storages were hit with a partial damage. The rest were burst into flames. They are very, very flammable. And of course, most of the goods were lost for the Russian entrepreneurs, for their customers. China is quite okay with that, because they already paid for those items. They were shipped from China to wildberries. Mostly products are coming from China. So it is mostly a huge strike on Russian business, Russian economy. And just for you to understand, wildberries alone contributes 3% to the Russian budget. Well, it doesn't mean that wildberries is too much profitable. No, they have income, yes, they are covering their loan from VTB Bank. By the way, VTB is the Russian government bank and it is the biggest investor into the Wildberries company. By the way, there are some of the issues started to happen with VTB, especially in occupied Crimea, where VTB used to work quite okay. But recently, Ukraine expanded the middle-range strikes, also cutting some of the logistics, trucks, and VTB just cannot deliver cash to Peninsula. That's why VTB has introduced the limits for people to get the cash from ATMs or in the bank offices. As you see, Crimea is getting isolated from everything, from power supplies, from fuel, from bank services, and VTB situation is not looking great because they invested a lot into Wildberries and they want their money back. But Wildberries, at least for the future perspective, I think this company is no-go. Like, it will not pay back and it might create a huge crisis in VTB. It might go bankrupt and it is one of the leading Russian government banks. It is also involved in the military contracts and how Russia is going to save that bank without having enough money in economy. Well, that's the different story. So you understand why the Wildberries company is the first in the queue for Ukraine to perform those drone operations. This guy continued to tell like 16 warehouses on fire. And Russians, please support us, our entrepreneurs, me, please buy something from my shop. They're not calling to stop the war against Ukraine. Those guys, they're just telling Russians to purchase more items from them because they're suffering, they're losing their goods, and at least something, please help, help. They're not crying about the life losses, absolutely. They want just to profit. They all cry over their parcels, which they lose. But the actual picture is more terrible. It is horrific what Putin does in Ukraine. It shouldn't have been done. It was his decision and Russians still comply with his policy. We see majority of Russians still, yes, they support Russian imperialistic style of ruling. Here we have the close-up perspective, so this particular Wildberries in Tula is completely ruined, down to ashes. Plus, in Ufa, Ukrainian drones visited one of the refineries that was hit already 3 days ago. I told about it on my channel, and this is the second strike on one more very important part of infrastructure, and you see that those nets, they're not helping. So Ukrainian drones, they're turning everything into flames. And here's the situation from the wider perspective. The refinery has already stopped its operation. No reports comments the situation in Ufa. Preliminary analysis says that the fire in the Bashneft refinery cluster in Ufa is affecting the L35-11/1000 catalytic reforming unit and combined Zheska processing unit. And these are core refinery installations with catalytic reforming, especially important for producing high-octane gasoline and maintaining normal fuel output. High-octane gasoline, sometimes it has been used in aviation and for usual cars. Usually Ukraine aims towards that kind of the infrastructure, and that's why in Russia there are issues with high-octane benzene or gasoline. With the diesel there are less issues. By the way, in Ukraine it is vice versa, because Russia hid diesel storages mostly because diesel is being used by trains, by army vehicles, but Ukraine imports fuel from European Union countries, so with high-octane gasoline there are no issues basically. But diesel, yes, there are even some of the limits being introduced in Ukraine, 100 liters per car. Yeah, per one refueling, not per day. And Russia hits lots of the Ukrainian gas stations, like a lot. Hundreds of those are being already devastated, especially in the eastern side. I spoke with Kellen Robertson, who is the friend of the channel. He's an independent journalist and he reports from very close proximity to the front lines. And in the cities where he was, now they're partially occupied or fully occupied. And around a couple of weeks ago, he was returning back to Kyiv from Kramatorsk, and he said like there are no any refueling stations left on the way. Just in the central Ukraine there are some, but eastern Ukraine nothing. And here's the result of the Russian strikes on Ukraine. The last night, Rosetka marketplace was hit in Brovary, very close to Kyiv. This is the biggest storage they have, and they lost it, also gone completely. Here you may see the different perspective, and one more, 2 of the fire regions, and it is gone. Like Rosetka also will be no more, but again, compared to the Russian Wildberries marketplace, Rosetka is like a small shop in a village. And Ukrainians are not using it that massively as Russians use Wildberries. I think Ukrainian OLX is more advanced, and there you can buy new items, used items, and it doesn't require some of the storage. It is just an online platform that connects seller and the customer, and it's up to seller how to organize all of that logistics. Yes, it is less effective compared to the Amazon or Wildberries marketplace, but it is way more safe. And Rosetka, I think it will be gone, unfortunately, yes. But Ukraine has an alternative. Russians don't have it, and Wildberries is just the first step. Next will be Ozon and Yandex Market and so on. So Russia, with its huge warehouses, with its huge refineries, oil storages, is actually very, very vulnerable. Its economy is fragile. And from what we see, their air defense is not effective. For example, in Ufa, just 1 drone was intercepted. Well, Ukraine is also in lack of the air defense, not against the drones, but against the ballistic missiles. For the last night, 0 missiles were intercepted. All of them went to the targets, causing tremendous damages, not just to Rosetka, but also to many more storages, like, for example, Fozy. And this is the grocery store where people purchase food. And I think it's the next step of the escalation. Ukraine doesn't hurt groceries, just marketplaces for electronics, for phones and other shit. But groceries, come on, this is too much. And Russia is using ballistics for that. This is stupid, but this is the tactics of the Russian army. They want to terrorize Ukraine. They want to make living in Ukraine almost not possible. They already tried it the previous winter. They wanted to black out Ukraine, to cut all of the communications, all of the energy. It didn't work, by the way, just partially. Yeah, there were some of the problems for people. Ukraine was definitely in lack of electricity, but now everything is more or less stabilized. However, the future winter could be even more terrible. And some of the Russian strikes, I would say they're absurd. It's just the pure barbarian stuff. They hit people who were waiting for the train in one of the remote train stations that connects the villages to the main city of Kyiv, and people are gone. 8 people were unalived with 1 strike. And Russia calls it a liberation. As for this hour, 17 people lost their lives because of the attack, and 40 with something were delivered to the hospitals. And this is Nova Poshta terminal that was hit and partially at least collapsed. Reuters published the article saying that North Korean missile unit deploys in Russia for Ukraine war, Kyiv says. So according to Ukrainian officials, North Korea has deployed its ballistic missiles because Russia is running out of Iskanders. The production of those missiles is expensive and it takes time, so Russia has around 100 of Iskanders left. But the issue goes for the Russian air defense missile S-400 because Russia modernized it to be used as a standard ballistic missile, and it is very fast. They changed the warhead, and yeah, it's devastating. Plus, North Korea helps Russian dictator. For sure, not for free, but it helps. And our world community, our Western civilization, still remains silent about the fact that North Korea is being involved in this war almost full scale. Their soldiers were fighting, and still they're going through some of the training, and potentially could be used even on Ukrainian territory. There is the information was leaked that 35,000 North Korean troopers might be used by Russia even this year at the very end. Because from the legal perspective for Putin personally, he already announced that those territories of Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk and Luhansk, those are Russian territories. So as North Koreans defended Kursk region of Russia, they might proceed in the same way to those occupied regions of Ukraine. And probably the next use of North Koreans could be less reckless, let's say, for Russians, because North Koreans, they also train with Russian soldiers. They already have this experience. So they will be more capable, I would say, in the future wars. This is the downside. So Pyongyang has already delivered a new batch of 40 KN-23 and KN-24 ballistic missiles to Moscow and sent personnel to Russia. So we're not saying about some of the freezing of the conflict, stopping the war, ceasefire. No, the war is ongoing full scale. It becomes even more global. Yeah, this was an attack on Kyiv the last night. Hypersonic missiles Onyx, ballistic missiles, and advanced drones Geran 3. None of the missiles were intercepted. Ukraine doesn't have tools to counteract to ballistic missile threat, unfortunately. And it is going to happen like that even during the winter time. The Ukrainian air defense missile array is not yet ready, and there are some of the questions about its effectiveness and whether Ukraine is capable to produce those massively. So there are multiple of the issues with that one. It's very wet, so of course PAC-3 is better, but there are not enough PAC-3 missiles, and still there are some of the negotiations ongoing with the United States and Trump's administration. Trump promised with Zelensky, he was staying nearby, and he said, we're going to share our Patriot technologies with you. Yes, you need to produce it. And later on, he tackles out. So, of course, the situation is not good. Kyiv has lots of the chances this winter to be blackouted for quite significant time, maybe for several weeks, for months. But at the same time, Ukraine continued to fight back, and the Russian economy will also struggle under Ukrainian drone strikes. So Russians don't have any sort of the tools of how to shut down Ukrainian drones effectively. Ukraine has those tools, by the way, drone interceptors. And Ukraine is a way smaller country compared to Russia, so for Ukraine actually it's easier to bypass the Russian air defense on those vast territories. By the way, Kellen Robertson reports from Kyiv the last night was really terrible.
So Kyiv is currently under a massive missile attack right now. There's no interceptors left in stock. These are the things that actually keep people safe. And this is what civilians now have to live with every single night, looking up at the sky, terrified, knowing that there's not even an air defense system anymore. These were delivered by the United States for the last couple of years, and now they've completely run out. Trump has turned around and said he doesn't want Ukraine to even have the ability to make any. Now these sounds that you're hearing every single night are the sounds of the Russian missiles crashing into their intended targets, which are civilian areas, residential areas, hospitals, the kind of things we've seen hit for years. And this is the consequences of pulling away the support for Ukraine, is this horror that people have to live with every single night, the sounds of these explosions. I know people don't like when I'm outside and not in a shelter, but I come out here to show people how horrific it actually is with these booms, these sounds, and this absolute horror. But again, millions of people live in this city right here in Europe. It's the 4th largest city, and there are explosions every single night that sound just like this. It's appalling.
So yeah, you see what is happening. Russia not just strikes Rosetka, Novaya Poshta or something. As I showed you, they strike train stations. Very random one, just remote, almost abandoned. There's just an apron, no any buildings, and they hurt people who were staying there. Or residential houses. This is their tactics. They want to press Ukrainian population as hard as possible. Those are the Russian Iskanders. The video was shared today, but it doesn't guarantee that it was filmed today. But yeah, they launched lots of the ballistics. Yeah, this is the cluster munition that Russia used the last night to attack Kyiv. Clusters. You see? And Russia started to use first this weapon in 2022, right from the beginning. And yeah, later on they of course complained that Ukraine used ATACMS with clusters on Russian airfields, but Ukraine never launched ATACMS on some of the civilian infrastructure. But Russians, they do it. My friends, that's it for this video. Stand by for one more update today. And guys, please, if you can, you may support my job on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description right below, or join membership of YouTube channel by pressing button join. You are amazing. Thank you for making this content possible. My friends, also don't forget to press like to this video and subscribe to the channel. We are on the way to reach 1 million subscribers. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.